and don't fall under the umbrella of the Department of Homeland Security. Typically, voting machines are not connected to the internet.
Voting Machines has denied that their voting machines are connected to the internet.
To an update on the Arizona election audit, the independent investigator charged with looking into Maricopa County's election equipment, confirming that election equipment was not connected to the internet.
The most important thing to know about Georgia's voting system is the voting machines are not ever connected to each other, nor are they connected to the internet in any way.
Our voting machines are never connected to the internet.
For remote access software?
Yes.
We do not, we no longer install any remote access software. That process was discontinued in 2006 and is not allowed by any of the EAC testing.
Mr. Lewis?
Chairperson, we've never had any kind of remote access capabilities, but I will say that I do want to draw a caveat. Some of our tabulators are designed around the ability to have an external plug-in modem to transmit unofficial results after polls close.
Our voting machines are not connected to the internet.
Those are not connected.
Voting machines themselves are not connected to the internet.
On Twitter, lies about voting machines have been a top midterm narrative, including falsely claiming the voting machines were connected to the internet. And where they learn that? The internet.
Hello? Okay, there we go. Okay, everybody, did you see the common lie that was told to everyone in the world? If you're watching from other countries, you were told this lie when they took your country. Because if you're not connected to the internet, they're trying to tell you, how could you have this cyber evidence and all this stuff? Because you couldn't have been in there, you couldn't have been in the room. That's like saying having murder committed, but you got your going, well, I wasn't there. Well, we think you were there, we see you there. They're going, oh, no, we're not in that room, we're not connected to the internet, we're not connected to the internet. I can sit and show you probably a month's worth, every day, 24 hours a day, of people that said, and you've all heard it yourselves, county officials, everyone, all the way down. It could be a school board, like, well, we're not connected to the internet. We're not connected, that's impossible, we're not connected to the internet. We're not connected to the internet. I want to put this in your head so much this morning. We're not connected to the internet. That's the lie. Don't ever forget that they lied to us. When we leave here today, you can't forget about that lie. If you lied about that, remember you lied about a lot of other stuff. Okay? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you over the next hour or so here, I guess, is evidence that we have that they were connected to the internet, but not cyber evidence and not stuff like this. Evidence that came right out of the machines itself, which you all got. The CASPO records, the registration, the voter rolls, okay? So you're gonna see what they can't say that they were connected to the internet when we got the stuff from the machines. There was stuff that we could get under the Freedom of Information, which you all got, okay? And I'm gonna show you right now Patrick was there. He was there, and he's going to show you evidence he had firsthand. And then we're going to show you what we could get out of the machine. Evidence like he has firsthand evidence. They've been all just, the media doesn't put it out there, so it's been all just, we don't care if you have evidence. They were online. They weren't on the internet. They weren't on the internet. They weren't on the internet. You say, well, I got a picture. They were on the internet. No, they weren't on the internet. These stories. One of the things I want you to see up there. You guys, that's Alan Duke and a guy named Martin that's overseas. He lives overseas. I believe it's Belgium. They have 3 other employees. All of them, every time you see fake news, fake or false information, they were hired by Facebook and Twitter. Everything you got covered up. They're not on the internet. False news. That was Alan Duke. Alan Duke and these stories. Before we get to there, I'm going to tell you about Alan Duke. I went to him and we had 100% evidence, which was the Tina Peters Mesa County image. This was the only one we have inside the machines that showed they were on the internet. We gave it to Alan Duke. And Alan Duke looked at it, his people looked at it. He signed an NDA with us just before I released it, put it up on Frank's speech. And he looked at it, and I called him up. I said, well, are you going to tell the world about this now that everything we've been saying is true? And you know what he said? He goes, Mike, shame on you, Alan, too. Disgusting. But anyway, let's move on. We're past that. It's still a little thing back then, because I thought back then, wow, we show the world. Wouldn't it be something that the line Facebook fact checkers and the Twitter fact checkers would have came public and said it's all true, everybody? But you know what? Like I said yesterday, that was over a year and 3 months ago. It wasn't the right time, okay? Because we went and found out everything we know now. Another year later, we know who the bad guys are. We know who the good guys are. We know what we know. We woke, and people haven't woke up. Their eyes have been opened. You guys have been there, and more and more people with their eyes open that we have to secure our election platform now. So I'm going to go to Patrick, and he was there. Why don't you take it from there with what you've seen firsthand?
Yeah, first of all, a little bit of background. I'm a certified Microsoft Small Business Specialist. I'm an aerospace engineer. I worked on cabling design for the International Space Station. Plus, I served as vice chair of the Election and Government Reform Committee in the Michigan Senate. So, kind of a unique experience background. And when I went into the TCS Center...
It's a rocket science, guys. When you hear it's not rocket.
I work on the payload for the rockets, not the rockets. But anyway, all these people that are asserting that there is no evidence of these machines being connected to the internet, well, I'm an eyewitness of the fact that these guys are connected to the internet. And anybody who knows Windows operating system knows when you go down that little right-hand corner, there's this little icon in there that indicates that the machine is connected to the internet. That was on every single one of the 25 ImageCast Central tabulators there were high-speed tabulators at the Detroit TCS Center during the November 3rd, 2020 election. And by the way, it was on all the adjudicator workstations, and all these machines were networked to at the TCS Center as well. And I had two other people witnessing exactly what I saw, which was that icon in the bottom right-hand corner. So you can't say there is zero evidence of these machines being connected to the internet. By the way, during tabulation, although it doesn't matter if it's during tabulation or not. So I'm a certified Microsoft Small Business Specialist. I've established a few networks in my day. They were connected to the internet. And what the weird thing is that it's not even against the law in Michigan to be connected to the internet, yet they're still denying it, which begs the question, why? All these guys had to do, and I asked them to do it, was roll a little mouse cursor on these machines over that symbol, and if you do so, it says connected to the internet. They refused to do that and said, you know what, you're just going to have to trust me. Well, I don't trust them. All right?
And I want to interject. So you see what were they hiding? They were hiding because if they admit that they're on the internet, they would, maybe somebody would have made them open up the machines and show us what's going on.
Yeah.
But they had to have that big line. We're not on the internet. If they don't have that, they got nothing, because everybody knew them with the manipulation. But you can block that by just keep saying, I wasn't in the room. We're not on the internet. We're not on the internet. We're not on the internet. We're not on the internet.
Yeah, by the way, to show how secure they were with their internet connections, in 2022, when I was going through a walkthrough beforehand, their actual router had the user admin name and password written on the outside of the router. So if you really believe we got secure elections, think again. But back to election night back in 2020, not only didn't I trust them regarding the tabulators, but actually I noticed that there was I just decided to go off and take a screenshot. That was from my phone on election night. All the wireless networks that were active on election night. Now, all the laptops that were out there with the poll books, the electronic poll books, they all had the ability to connect wirelessly to these Wi-Fi networks. And what are the odds that something called AV_connect was maybe used for absentee voting tabulation at the TCS Center? We don't know, right? Because they're not providing any of this information. What did they do in Maricopa County? Was the one that they held on, the data that they held on to. They refused to give up the routers. They refused to give up the Splunk logs. That's what they're adamant about.
What you think if I've said it before, if you're innocent, you seen it yesterday on when I was on Jimmy Kimmel. Well, why wouldn't they just open it up and say, we're not on the internet, we have nothing to hide?
Right.
Think of this, if you're one of the brands like ES&S, think of these guys. Omaha, Nebraska, the hometown boys, right? They're the biggest company in the United States of these machine companies. If I'm in business, okay, they're if they call it a business, I call it something else. But I would say, hey, you know, when you had Dominion and Smartmatic and the public guys suing everybody and everything, and ES&S, if I'm them, I'm going to say, hey, come and look at our machines and open them up. You know, we're not on the internet. We have nothing to hide. But yet they lied and said they weren't on the internet. And it's a lie through all of them because they're all on the internet.
And you know, when I put in an affidavit in a court filing regarding this, the judge, his name is Judge Timothy Kenny, he made sure that all the court cases related to election fraud was routed to his court in Southeast Michigan. When it was presented to him, his assessment of my evidence that these machines were connected to the internet was saying, he said, because Colbeck was looking for fraud going into the election and he found it, his testimony is disqualified. That's like an NFL referee who's trained to recognize interference being told that pick up the flag, sir. You were looking for that interference call, so you're not allowed to go off and make that call. That's what we're up against. So I did a little bit of digging after I got out of the TCS Center, and I said, you know what? This is a contract between Dominion Voting Systems and the state of Michigan. And by the way, it's got similar provisions for ES&S and Hart Intercivic inside the state of Michigan as well. But these are diagrams directly from their contract with the state of Michigan. And it's for their election management system server. It's not just all about the tabulators that I said eyewitness were connected to the internet. It's also what's called the election management system server. And in their contract, they gave four options for configuration on it. And I want you to look at the top of every single one of these diagrams. That word internet kind of pops up on every single one of these configurations. So every option you had for election management system server was connected to the internet. Why is that a big deal? Because in cities like Detroit, the only way you get precinct level results is via the election management system server. You don't get it from the tabulators because they blend a bunch of precincts into one tabulator. The only way you get it parsed out into the individual precincts that they use for the certification of the election results is from these machines, which are never publicly tested, which are at the core of the discrepancy that we saw with the 7,060 vote flip from Antrim County, from Trump to Biden. You guys remember that? They tried to dismiss it? Well, that's because they never tested these election management system servers, and they had different configurations. These election management servers from the tabulators. So guys, this is a big deal. These guys connect to the internet, and if you're getting your official election results for machines that haven't been tested, and they're connected to the internet, it's kind of a big deal.
Well, not yet they're connected to the internet. They lie. They are connected to the internet. There's no wiggle room here, everybody. They lie. This isn't an if, okay? This is they are.
And here's
they lie, they lie, they lie, they lie. If I have to sit here for a month, I'll spend 24 hours a day to show the whole world. If the media comes out tomorrow and says, oh, we didn't lie, we didn't lie, I will play it 24/7 and show you. Good.
And whatever. Okay. And in support of that, Mike, you're not the only one saying that they lie. This is the Election Assistance Commission putting out a little nasty grant note out to ES&S. And you're advertising that your machines aren't connected, don't have any modems associated with them, and this is not true. So it's not just a Dominion problem. ES&S is engaged in this as well. Also, Hart Intercivic, all of them. So it's plenty of room to go around with this internet connection.
There it is. So remember that ES&S. They may have violated the law. May have. Now, some sounds to me like they have this year. It's just a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Well, then why did they say me? Why did somebody look into it and say you are?
Yeah, we've got a lot of cases where people are identified for not following the law. I mean, I talked about Jocelyn Benson breaking the law 5 times. Well, she's got her hand slapped and said, oh, okay, I won't do it again. You know, that's what we're getting. So we need to start having some consequences, and that's where the American people come in, and that's why today is so important, because now we're going to equip people to hold them accountable.
Absolutely.
All right, good stuff, Mike.
And that's not the plan, what he just said. Just hold people accountable. We're going to do that too. Thanks, Patrick. You're off. Hey, Patrick. Okay.
is the audio?
Now, I believe we have Dr. Craig. I'm not sure who's coming up next. But what we're going to continue to show you is the lie. They lied. They said they weren't on the internet. But you just seen there, it's an eyewitness. What we're going to show you now is things that came out of the machines. We don't get to see inside, but under the Freedom of Information Act, you can get certain things. One of the things which I got in every state in 2020 was everybody's voter rolls. Who registered, who voted, and you know, you have ages and everything in every single county that voted, the age groups, everything. And also the cast vote records. So I think, is it Dr. Craig who's up next, you guys? Bye, Dr. Craig.
I think it's loaded. See if they would get it.
Okay, let me give you a background here on Dr. Craig. First of all, tell us what your background is, your personal background.
I'm a scientist, did that for 40 years. Inventor, building electron microscopes, laser scanners and stuff, equipment. I did that for a lot of years, not paying attention to elections, but doing my civic duty and voting every year.
But you're not what the media calls you a math teacher, right? A little more than that?
Yeah, a little more than that. 60 scientific publications, cover articles on the leading journals in the world.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, when I met Dr. Frank, I was doing the movie Absolute Interference. I met him for the first time when I did those movies back then. It was all live. We didn't edit. In real time. Stop that. Let's start over. Kind of like what we're doing right now. And when he started telling me about what he had found inside these machines, we're through the registration. We all can get it. The freedom of I had to pay a lot of money for them. Alabama charged me $40,000, which was, highway robbery by John Merrill. But when I heard his thing, I'm going, wow, it 100% proved they're on the internet and they were computer manipulated. And I'm going, it was like a perfect marriage going for everything I had for the cyber evidence that they kept blocking, saying, we're not on the internet, we're not on the internet, we're not on the internet. Remember, what he has comes from the machine, comes from our states. It's not made up out in the sky. That's why they've never been able to discredit him when he's out there going around the country and warning people, warning counties, and he does that. And now they changed it. Instead of the media attacking, they just call him the Johnny Appleseed of election crime, right? So go ahead and go through and tell us, show us what you have.
Well, the question people always, we're talking about machines here. We're talking about how the machines get connected to the internet. But people need to understand it's not just that thing you put your ballot through. It's also the EMS, as Patrick was just describing. It's also the poll books. There are all these connections. And I remember in the state of Ohio, for example, we showed that all the Dominion machines were talking to one another as well as being on the internet. So when we talk about machines, we're not just talking about one thing, we're talking about a lot of things. And then just
pulling tabulators, printers,
exactly.
All of it. Everything that's running computers in our elections.
And just yesterday, the Epic Times showed this vast network that all of them were connected to. So it's not even just the internet. It's also the cellular network. So there's all these electronic connectability things that are going on. Basically, we just got to get rid of it all. We got to vote off. We got to vote all paper, no machines. Yes.
It's not the plan either, but we're going to get there.
That's right. Get there. So one of the questions Mike asked, he says, well, what would an election without machines look like? That's a great question. Well, what he's really asking, I think, is what does an election with no fraud look like? No computer. Exactly.
I'm about done. I'm going live here too.
So here we are in Missouri. Last year, Ann Kelly was taking me around, introduced me to the clerks throughout the state.
All right,
and she the last day, we were sitting there with the head clerk of the state of Missouri, and he was explaining how safe their machines were and how they weren't connected to
Say hi to America. Maryland Todd, New Hampshire's hero.
Because I can show you that your voter rolls are being.
I'm all ghetto.
Yeah.
I'm learning, you know.
What are you on?
More professional.
Oh, is this live?
I'm live on like 8 different platforms.
We know we have
Facebook,
LinkedIn.
Get involved, America!
Twitter, Telegram,
Yellow. Get involved, America. Take back your country.
That's right, that's right. Right now, the mama bears out here. The papa bears. All right, we gotta finish this.
So anyway, you get the point. I think that's all I need to tell you. They know, and he was so happy to tell me the whole lore of all the boss stuff this is going on for years. So the reason I tell you that,
we'll go on here too.
how would you know
right here?
for the election that fraudulent?
You can for more distribution. Pete Santilli show.
Nevertheless, we show what it's like without machines.
And I've got a bunch of interviews to do here, so.
Also, where would you get the data?
This man,
Electronic databases for the last 60, 70 years, right? Those are more recent additions. So what does an election without machines look like? Well, when did all this start? If you look back,
Pedro.
in every state now,
You go by Pedro?
in every state,
Pedrito,
the voter
Pedro,
rolls
we can
are
do
growing
whatever. Here we
faster
go.
than the
Let me
population.
just,
And when you first say that to people, they
We're
say,
gonna-
well,
look
gee,
here,
Dr.
right?
Frank,
we're
you
gonna
know,
break
that's
in,
not
we're gonna break in, and,
No, that's not
Chris has been
because in 8 states, they
operating
have more
in
people in the voter
the
rolls than they have
background.
people.
Pete Santilli show, right
Okay?
here,
And
live,
so
we're
what's
broadcasting
bad about
live.
that? Well,
Ladies and gentlemen,
how
breaking
a lot
in
of
on the
people
feed,
rolls
over the
are
shoulder.
people.
We've got
And you're
Patrick
mandating
Colbeck,
ballots,
and
everybody.
I'm sorry,
That's
Dr.
the problem.
Frank. Patrick Colbeck just came on.
Oh,
Dr.
I'm
Frank,
sorry.
now he's the
That's
man
an
of
easy
data.
Sorry about that.
And then,
So,
of course,
I'll give
we're
you an
going to go
example. Here's one example.
to
This is from Kentucky. It's the state of
Ivan
Kentucky.
Raiklin right
This is their
now.
voter
We were
rolls.
having a
Notice
discussion
over
off
time
stage.
that the voter rolls are growing faster. You can see
Deep
here,
state.
the voter rolls are
Deep
growing faster
state
than the population.
marauder.
Here's their 18 and over
Deep state
population.
marauder.
Goes right by,
So
right before
we were
2020.
having, as
There's
they
an extra
were
little surge.
letting us
The
know
rolls go
about
right
the
past
day,
population.
the
Factor
day
up
in
to
chief,
105% of their
which is
people are
today,
registered.
the main day,
That's a
talking
sort of
about
interesting
the
thing.
plan.
Judicial Watch sued them. They've been going around
You also
the country
came up with
suing
some
people
great
for
ideas.
this
We had some great
and
discussions.
they were required to remove
And,
hundreds of thousands of people from the rolls, but they just got put right back
You know,
in
when I
again.
first met you,
And that,
remember
so in other words,
at
they're not
the,
really leaving the rolls. They say they are.
Cyber Symposium,
It ends up,
in that
I
cry
just
room.
don't want people to think
Remember
it's one county only.
It was
So
like-
I'm showing
it's
you
like we were in a
70
skip.
so of their counties. If you remember, Adrian
So you
Southport
introduced yourself.
was here yesterday. She said, yeah, we've got 80 counties now with more people
That
than
tore down
the rolls
the
than they have
state
people. So that's a problem.
activity.
Judicial Watch sued
You're
the
a
county
deep
of Los
state
Angeles in
OG.
Southern California.
You're actually the OG.
Just this February, they were required to remove 1.2 million people from their voter rolls
When I grow up,
because they were illegally in the voter rolls. And think about it, in California, they mail every one of those people a ballot. But that's a problem, you mean?
Mediation ordinance.
Within 2 months, their voter rolls were right back full again. So how can that happen? Is there some clerk sitting in her office going, oh, gee,
It's time to
you know,
drone
gonna
strike.
have people to roll
Line
in?
one,
No,
Virginia applied
it's
properly.
because they're connected to the internet, and it's a simple algorithm that's doing that. And that's what I described to Mike in the movie Scientific Proof. So that's interesting.
Constitutionally, legally.
How are they doing this? And why are they doing this? And what is their
A
justification
constitutional,
for being
constitutional,
connected? The rolls
lawful,
are
patriotic drone
connected
strike.
to the internet.
And peaceful.
Line
What's the
Again,
justification?
for us.
Well, something happened in 1992. It's
Not
called
properly.
NVRA, the National Voter
All right, so let's
Registration
get back
Act.
to
And after
the solution.
NVRA, in every state now, it's about 46
And then you
states,
can have your
800 counties, boots on the ground, 3,000 counties that have been analyzed. In every single state, you have this sort of
You're not
thing.
just an
I know this is a
idea
complicated graph, but if you look back here in 1996, you can see a
So I like-
huge
what I like to tell
surge
people
of
is,
influx
I like
in
to look
one
at where
county
our
here in
problems
Pennsylvania.
are
I'm just
in our
using this as an
constitutional
example,
order. The big
showing the age of the
come up
people
with
being
a
added
plan
to the
in
rolls
order to be able to
by year.
counter
And you notice
that,
there's this
right?
massive
Identify
influx
the
of
enemy,
voters
what they think
who are not real voters. They actually didn't even vote that
And
year.
then
I
create a plan
looked
to
those
be able
people
to
up.
counter that.
They started
And then
stuffing the rolls with
participate in
people who
space.
were not real voters over the years.
So not
Because
to
if
say
you're
that
going to
I
cheat
don't
on the
like
internet,
an
if you're going
idea.
to cheat
This is
and
what
flip
you
votes,
do.
if you're going to
No,
cheat and add
I'm going
votes,
to try
you
to
need to have
ensure
names for every
that I
one of
just
those
want
votes
to
you're
not
adding. You need to have names that you can
for
assign ballots to. And if you don't have them in the rolls,
Are
you
we
have
getting
no
on this
credit
mess?
line to
Yep,
use it. So
that's a
that's
great question.
That's true, that I like that, you have no credit line,
Phone
you have to have those
You already
names.
listed, right?
So
Early.
the,
LH,
that's why the
we're
early
at
voting is
LHS.
right under
4
the
private
Oh,
companies are
yes,
legally
early
registered
voting.
for our
You're
elections.
basically telling
Phone
the
is,
bad guys
some people
who's
pronounce
already
it phone.
voted, so they know who
Number
this
2 is
stuff for.
deviant
So
voting.
that's why.
Some
So
people
this is
pronounce
one example. I can go into more detail, but you
Number
get the
3
point.
is
The
Dominion
problem is
slash
that every state now,
Yep,
every
LHS.
state in the country is doing this,
And
and I
then
just
number
want to
4,
give you a couple of examples
the
of that.
RNC.
So, for example, here's this is Pennsylvania. They're since 1960. Remember, we're wondering what did elections look like before machines. That's sort of the pondering here. Notice that the population since 1960 in Pennsylvania, you can see it kind of growing there. But look, that's the top line. That's the voting age population. Blue curve. Look at the black curve underneath it. That's who's registered to vote. Wait a minute. After 1992, look, their voter rolls suddenly started surging. But their population didn't surge. Why are their voter rolls surging? That's happening in every state. The reason it's surging is because they're giving themselves that credit line. They're registering people who are not real voters. They don't always vote at first.
What is it?
And then you notice, like here's the red curve. The red curve is who actually voted. Well, gee, as soon as they started inflating the voter rolls, lo and behold.
Here, I got a question.
Yeah.
So, when they're inflating them there, when they were adding the voter rolls before, was it by hand, and then all of a sudden computers came in?
It was when computers were starting to be added in the 90s.
Does everybody understand that part? Okay.
Yeah. So the turnout, so I don't have time to show you every state in the country. So what I did is I added them all together. So you can see this is for the whole country. This is the 18 and older population, the blue curve. And you notice that as of 1990, the voter turnout, the black curve across the whole country has been going up, and the number of votes has been going up. We suddenly became more patriotic.
Not tune in.
I don't think so. And what happens is if you do simple math, you can say, look, the number of votes is growing faster than the population by about 10%. And that's basically where all the fandom ballots are coming from. If you're going to cheat with machines, you need places, names to assign to, and that's about 10%, about 30 million of our population. So the voter turnout is also become more erratic since the addition of machines. And you can see that really clearly. I'll just give you one example from California. By the way, you notice right off the bat, California's population of 18 and older people is starting to diminish, but their rolls are growing. Their rolls are growing, but their population is going down. Interesting. But notice how the voting, presidential, midterm, used to be pretty stable, and it's become more erratic. As soon as they add in machines, look what's happening, and that's a trend I see in every state in the country. And what's also very spooky is if I show you state after
I like
state
this,
after
the Elon Musk one. On the back line,
all the states in the country are
do we have
behaving
audio going out?
exactly
I'm being
the
told.
same. How could all the states be
My
behaving
production
exactly the
team here,
same?
are you guys
Especially
still there?
since they're not online.
How could that possibly happen?
Audio's good. Okay, somebody,
So this is sort of external.
somebody just said that there was no, can't hear you guys. Audio
Anyway, to
is
show you how it's more volatile. Now, this is the
Somebody texted
money shot, as we like to call it.
Are we doing
It
okay?
used to
Okay,
be,
good.
and
Just
this
wanted
is
to make
before
sure.
machines,
Yes,
that
I'm not
you used to
doing
vote
good.
in your local precinct. You would go in, you would sign your book, you would give you a ballot, you fill it out, and to your local neighbors, everybody knew everybody, you make sure everybody was a real voter, and then at the end, you would count up the ballots and turn in the number. That's the way we used to run elections, but we don't do that now. In every state in the country now, it's taking 2 decades, but it's
I'm
happening now.
understanding StreamYard's a good
Our
system.
roles are centrally controlled, and I use this example from Wisconsin. I'll show you a second example from Wyoming. Notice that this graph shows you from 2009 to 2021.
Who does the call and the graphics and stuff?
In Wisconsin.
Oh, it is?
Showing Robert Voss.
Yeah, I
I
just
said,
pressed
notice,
this.
he's the Speaker of the
I
House.
say,
I said, notice that right before
click on that.
2012, the rolls suddenly surge. And then they vote and you take people out. And then midterm, it surges a little bit and you take people out. And then right before 2016, the rolls filled right back up again. Like, wait a minute, why are the rules all full? After the election,
Elon Musk.
they remove a fourth of the voters.
Yeah, Twitter
They
follow,
remove a fourth of the voters from the voter rolls. I said,
All right,
sure,
so
and
this
they're
is
all
your
back again by 2020. How could that possibly happen? You know what his answer was?
Several
We
parallel
have a lot of
discussions
turnover in those
content
3
in
largest
education
counties.
that they've been bamboozled over the last
25% in 4 years, I said.
But
Besides,
it's hosted by
look at
the
all
biggest
of
names
your counties.
biggest
Hey,
portfolio.
everybody look at that. Does that look like they were online?
Every one of your counties follows the exact same pattern. How could that happen? And one of the messages that you hear is, oh no, we can't have widespread fraud in our state because every county runs their own elections.
Pressure.
You think so? I don't think so. Yeah, and that's month to month.
So it's like that one movie, Identical.
Identical, yes. So now that's Wisconsin. Some people might say, well, not in my county. And that's one of the things I'm doing tonight. Not in my county. Well, here's Wyoming, the most conservative in the country. Here's their three largest counties. And you notice the same thing. Wait a minute, they're all behaving exactly the same. And by the way, let's look at all of their counties. And you're going to see they all have exactly the same pattern. Okay, so this is evidence of machine manipulation of the rolls, centrally controlled, and we don't even, I mean, this can't happen naturally. This ain't natural, buddy. Okay, and by the way, in Wyoming, their rolls changed 25% in 2 years. In Wisconsin, it took 4 years to change 25%. So it's even worse. They didn't even know this was happening to them. One of the things that's so eye-opening to me about this is I'm just going around the country showing people their own evidence, their own data.
You know, it's been a little over 2 years now when I met you, and the demonstration back then was very just in its infancy. Are you surprised that it's this widespread in every county and every state in the country?
Yes, when you first had me on that conversation proof, I had only done 5 states at that point. Right. And I was still looking for a conservative state because Republicans are good, Democrats are bad. I was still looking for a place where I could not predict the elections. But then, I've only done 5 states, now I've done 46. And I remember
46 out of 50 is already done. This guy never, I think he's only been home, I don't know, a week in 3 years. I mean, I hear he's just on the road. He cares so much for his country. And they can't argue his evidence because it comes right out of the machine. They lied. They said they weren't online. And I used to go into states and go, like I was up in Ohio. This guy wanted me to endorse him, and he goes, I said, do you think there was election crime with these machines? Not in our state. Donald Trump won. You're out. If you don't have, if you're running for office and you don't even have the wherewithal, then you should look into this and care about your mind. The biggest,
Elon Musk came over.
I don't know what you would call the word. The word I hate the most is these politicians go, I'm all for election integrity. It's about as weak a word as you can find. It's called the election crime in our country. Protect us against the election crime. This isn't about integrity. It's such a weak word. Oh yeah, we're all for it. And they're running on this. It makes me sick. These politicians that are running on like election integrity, like Ron DeSantis done. Well, I'm all for election integrity. Really, you wouldn't even listen to us when we told you your machines were online. Wouldn't even listen to what New Hampshire.
Right. Well, I explained it. What I'm able to do is the same thing as being able to roll a 20-sided.
And I tell everybody what a person always
does. You roll a die 83 times. You walk into the next county, you roll the die 83 times, and it's the exact same 83 numbers.
Yes, she is. She is, ladies and gentlemen. That is Ivan Raiklin, and I'm going to cut over to the Mike Lindell theater.